do the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Do we all stand?
Post. Post. Freeze, then. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Post. Forward. March.
Thank you. We want to thank our public guard for being here to lead us in the pledge. And we have our monthly meeting. Thank you and appreciation on behalf of the board and our superintendent. Kate, would you do the roll call?
Sure. Joseph Britton is absent. Rachel Selesky.
Here.
Kate Canetta, here. Gladys Cooper.
Here.
Lauren Daly is absent. Joe De Silva.
Here.
Catherine Hodgson.
Here.
Richard Janelli is absent. Kathy Molinaro.
Here.
Joining us by Zoom. Al Russo.
Here.
Amy Spallino.
Here.
Thank you, Kate. So we move down the agenda and we can do public participation, the script that goes along with that.
The board welcomes public participation and asks that comments be limited to 3 minutes. The public may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel and students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System. Danbury residents are also invited to send brief comments and questions via email in advance to dps_public_boe@danbury.k12.ct.us.
Thank you, Kate. I understand that next on the agenda is comments. We don't have any comments that came into the board for tonight's meeting. So next we move on. Do we have anyone in our public that would at least like to address the board?
You're not allowing anyone to speak?
No. I think Board Chair Cooper was just clarifying, we did not receive any email
It's
comments.
very difficult to hear you and understand you. Do you not have a microphone?
We did not receive any email comments. The chair was inviting comments from the public.
Can you hear me now?
No.
No.
I apologize. I'm sorry. Are there any
It's not.
emails? No new emails came in for comments for tonight.
I just don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, there.
Now, do we have anybody in the public that would like to address the board tonight?
Answer, yes.
Can he address the board tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You want to stand up and address?
Yes. Hopefully,
We can hear you.
I had one of my shots plus my booster. If you guys have the same thing, you can almost take these off. But anyway,
Could you come up just a little bit closer? You know, we all here.
We have a problem.
This is not a comfortable environment. Yes, right, okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Jack DeVito. I've been in education for 51 years, 32 years in Norwalk High School, minus 19 in Westcon, so I got that out of the way. A few things I've seen since we moved to Danbury 40-something years ago. They never spend enough on education, first of all. Taxes up here are very low compared to almost every place else in Fairfield County, but nobody wants to raise taxes. I'm saying if you raise taxes on a person that pays $8,000 a year on his property taxes, you're talking $10 a month increase. Anybody, even these kids over here, can handle that. But I'm saying that's one, and what we need this money for is staffing. Right now in Danbury, schools are overcrowded. We know that. This high school was much too large. Should have 2 smaller ones. As an educator, you should understand, easier to control a smaller school. Also easier to educate them if you have the proper staff. We've lost a number of aides to the teachers. And aides to the teachers in Danbury makes about $14 or $15 an hour. Whereas if they go to open a TJ Maxx, someplace like that, even Walmart, they can make up to $18, $19 an hour. We don't pay them enough. We don't have enough of them. We need more of them. You know, all these things, all I hear about in this town is keep the taxes low. What the heck good is that if you can't get a decent education for your students? My kids graduated Danbury High School, did a great job, they went to college, everything else. But it's tough for these teachers. Again, I see the boss over here, he's new, I understand that, but, and even he realizes there's too many people in these schools. What's going to be done? Right now, I also have complained about the Chamber of Commerce. They should postpone that debate tonight till another night. I believe they have their own political agenda down the Chamber of Commerce. That's why they probably did that. There's enough, you know, so again, taxes increase. I hope the mayoral candidates see that way, but I doubt that carpetbagger from Brookfield will have one of raising the taxes. I just want to make sure that we get a better education and better help for our educational staff, especially the aides to help the teachers. These people do a tremendous job. You can't find people to do jobs like that for that pay, especially the ones in special ed, ESL, and things like that. I just hope, you know. Anyway, that's right now, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir, for your comments.
My hearing's not great.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to come before the board at this time?
He said.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I may ask a question? Is it out of order for me to ask a question right now?
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
let me go on again.
Next on the agenda is the consent calendar. Kate, would you do the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve the item on the consent calendar, Exhibit 21-105, as recommended.
Motion made by Kate,
Second.
seconded by Joe. Any questions concerning the consent calendar? Seeing none, Kate, would you do the roll call?
Rachel Chalesky,
Aye.
Kate Knetta, aye. Gladys Cooper,
Yes.
Joe De Silva,
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson,
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro,
Aye.
that's an aye. Al Russo,
Aye.
Amy Spallino.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Thank you very much. Amy, you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Okay.
As I looked at the agenda before we came tonight, I thought, have we let the public know that they can come in person? I mean, it looks to me like, I don't know where, maybe on the website, maybe there's other places, but it looks like public participation is supposed to come most through the emails. It doesn't say yet that you're welcome to come, does it? I mean, I don't know, do we have that on maybe our website or somewhere else?
So, Amy, we invited folks to the board meeting, I believe in our first meeting, so that the public was invited. However, there was a limit of, I believe it was 50 people per capacity. And in addition to being invited to come in person, just to make sure we got the participation for families who did not feel comfortable, they were also allowed to submit any comments remotely as well. So that's why that option is there. But if you might recall, we actually had an advocate here at our first meeting. We were actually counting numbers in the event. People came in. We did have a couple of visitors, but not many. But we just haven't had a lot of this walking traffic yet. And maybe with the option to submit questions remotely. I don't know if that's cutting back on the traffic, but the invitation was there. We can put it out again, certainly. We think it will help. The invitation was there in the beginning.
Thank you.
Moving on down to the agenda, student reps.
Good evening, Board of Education members. My name is Scott Gersten. This is Andre DeLeon, and we're here this evening to give you an update on what's happening at Danbury High School.
The annual homecoming game is this weekend at 2 p.m. for Staples. All are welcome to join us in supporting the Hatters in their question for victory on our new turf field that is now open.
Today, the PSATs were administered at DHS for the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and the seniors reported to the field. We took our annual picture and placed our handprints on the new school wall.
A big congratulations to Timothy Chen, as he was a semi-finalist for a National Merit Scholarship that is awarded to one of 16,000 applicants. We also had another 6 students who received honorable mention status.
And on an academic note, we are now half of the way through quarter one, and things seem to be running a bit more smoothly at DHS. Students are adjusting to the one-way halls and stairwells, and everybody's kind of figuring out where to go and everything. It's less crowded around the building.
And last but not least, Senior Fest has been rescheduled to October 29th due to weather. Thank you for having us, and have a good rest of your evening.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I am coming from ACE. I wanted to let you know what's going on. In the last 2 weeks, ACE has taken in 10 new students, and we are very optimistic that they will have success and become part of our family. The ACE also took the PSATs today, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. And the seniors came to DHS today to do cap and gown measurements, photos, and the handprints. Also, as a team building and connection, making experience the entire ACE staff and students went to the Danbury Ice Arena today after the PSATs to skate and have some fun. So after the PSATs, after lunch, we went to the Danbury Ice Arena, and they actually opened an arcade, and we were given like these cards. So we tried out the new arcade, and some of us skated, and we had a really good time. Also, the last week of October, students and staff will participate in Spirit Week. Themes for each day were voted on by students on a Google form. On October 26th, during Profession of Development, staff will participate in a workshop regarding Generation Z, their skills and attributes. Thank you very much for allowing us to share what's going on in our ACE family. Stay safe, everyone, and remain ACE strong.
Thank you. And if you want to stay for a complete meeting, you can stay, but you did your due diligence. And I know you have class tomorrow, so whenever you would like to leave, you can leave, okay?
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.
Captain, would you do action item A?
Yes.
Please.
education specifications for solar panel installation at King Street Intermediate. Motion that the Board of Education approve the education specifications for solar panel installation at King Street Intermediate School in accordance with 21-106.
I'll second.
Motion made by Catherine, seconded by Kate. Any discussion on the motion? That is,
Is it just the one
Yeah.
site for now, or?
Yeah, so previously, we had approved the other 5 sites, I believe it is. And so, for the state to consider the job, they need to consider all of them together. The board might recall at our last meeting, we actually pulled one of the motions, given the concern around the age of the roofs. The state has not necessarily declined the idea of, they're not saying it's not going to be approved, but for the entire project to be considered, all of the motions need to be moved forward to the state. So this will complete the package and be submitted to the state for consideration. So we would have held up our end of the bargain, and then we can submit the grant in full. So we will hear then, and we have our fingers crossed. Rich has been doing a yeoman's job trying to get this work prepared, and he's here for any questions the board might have that I can't answer.
any other questions for board members? Seeing none, Kate, roll call please.
Rachel Gillespie.
Aye.
Kate Canetta. Aye. Gladys Cooper.
Yes.
Joe De Silva.
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson.
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro. She's giving me the thumbs up. Al Russo.
Aye.
Amy Spallino.
Aye.
Thank you. Joe, would you do action item D, please?
Certainly. Madam Chair, item B, 2020-21 year-end financial report. Make a motion that the Board of Education approve the 2020-2021 year-end financial report in accordance with 21-107, it's page 10 in our packet.
Motion made by Joe. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Rachel. Any questions or discussion concerning the motion? We
Madam
had a
Chair.
workshop on the motion. When? Okay. Al?
Madam Chair, just a brief discussion, vote, comment anyway, our surplus of $2,832,984. And I understand because of insurance that I concur that probably leave that in reserve for elective surgeries and healthcare issues in the future. My opinion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions concerning the action item?
I would just like to
Yes.
say that I appreciate the summary and the figures along with that. I was able to watch the committee meeting and appreciate that summary and also the breakdown of the reserves, because we've heard numbers, but we have never seen actual figures and what they're allocated for, and I think that's smart. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Very well done.
It
Thank
was.
you.
I think it was an excellent job. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Spangler.
Kate, roll call.
Rachel Gillespie.
Aye.
Kate Canetta. Aye. Gladys Cooper.
Yes.
Joe De Silva.
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson.
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro. Al Russo.
Aye.
Amy Spallino.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Kate, would you do action item C?
Sure. I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve and authorize a change to the signatory representatives for Danbury Public Schools to John Spang, Chief Financial Officer, and Eduardo Miranda, Deputy Director of Finance.
Second.
Motion made by Kate, seconded by Joe. Any discussion, any questions concerning the signature change? No? Okay. Kate, do the roll, please.
Rachel Gillespie.
Aye.
Kate Canetta. Aye. Gladys Cooper.
Yes.
Joe De Silva.
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson.
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro.
Aye.
Albert Russo.
Aye.
Amy Spallino.
Aye.
Motion so carried. Amy, would you do action item D, please?
Yes, sure.
I make a motion that the Board of Education approve the authorization of signature change form for the ED-099 agreement, Child Nutrition Program, in accordance with 21-108, page 18.
Motion made by Amy, can I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Catherine. Any questions, discussions? Seeing none, Kate, do the roll call.
Rachel Gillespie.
Aye.
Kate Canetta, aye. Gladys Cooper.
Yes.
Joe De Silva.
Aye.
Catherine Hodgson.
Aye.
Kathy Molinaro. Al Russo.
Aye.
Amy Spallina.
Aye.
Thank you all, motion so carried. Moving on down the agenda, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper, and thank you, Board of Ed, for this evening. So we have 3 updates as part of the superintendent report. One about an update on enrollment. And I've been providing some numbers for the board in September and have some final numbers, at least for our October 1 submission. Does not mean families are not still coming to Danbury, but I do have some final numbers that will be submitted to the state. Also want to provide an update to the board and the school community regarding the executive order and how that's going. And last but not least, just a reminder for our families and just the work that our teachers are doing in the school regarding the quarantine and academic support when students are on quarantine. So I will start with the enrollment update, enrollment report. So last reported, I think I shared with the board and our community relations subcommittee that we were anticipating that we would have over 12,000 students, given the number of students that are pending registration and the number of students that we already have registered here in district. As of today, as of October 13th, we have 11,876, which is 42 more than we had last year at this time, of 11,838. However, we still have students pending in the system, and right now we'll continue to try to help get those families registered. I think I had mentioned at the board meeting last night, we still have families that are having trouble getting physicals to get in our buildings, and we're working with our families to try to get them in the building as soon as we can. We had, as part of our sites and facilities meeting, we had committee meeting, we had talked about demographer report that was done last year in 2020. The updated demographer report, there was a high, medium, and low projections for the 21-22 school year. Those projections were pretty much right on, but those are the low projections. The low projections had us a little bit under 12,000 and sort of had us kind of stabilizing for the first year. However, overall, the projections also suggest that we would have overall increases in time. But year 1, coming back from the pandemic, they had projected, the low projection anyway was a little under 12,000, which is about where we are. And we're expecting, again, a couple of more students, but the 10 October 1st numbers are pretty much right on target. So I just wanted to also make the board aware of that. The demographer had also suggested that we would likely have higher numbers in kindergarten this year, because not sure where parents who kept their kids home last year during the pandemic, whether families would choose to either have their kids come in as first graders or kindergartners. From the numbers will suggest that the majority of our families chose kindergarten. And so we have, as you can see in, well, I don't know if you can see this in the report that we shared, but we have 924 kindergartners this year, which is close to 120 more than we had last year. We also had a significant increase in 4th grade this year, an increase of 49, up to 932 4th graders this year. So we have experienced some bumps in certain grades. 8th and 9th grade, we had 33 additional kids in the 8th grade. Then the high school has also continued to experience growth. They had 167 additional 9th graders. I believe in September I had shared we had projections north of 12,000. We did lose 200 or 300 students at the end of the year. And looking back on it, I'm not sure if I should really be sharing, I mean, I can share data with the board in September. Quite frankly, it's premature. Our secretaries are just coming back in late August. And so they are clearing the data from the schools. And so a lot of our families who have chosen to have left Danbury, we don't have all of that data by our first meeting in September. That data is continued to be updated. And really, it's not until the mid of September, end of September, when we really have clean data. So yes, we've had 400 or 500 new families come into the district, but we also had 200 plus leave the district. That's why we don't have the 12,000 as of right now. But we are anticipating we will have close to 12,000. It won't necessarily make a 10-1 submission to the state, but we're pretty confident that we will be at the 12,000 number. So I just also wanted to provide that update to the board as well. I'm sure there might be a question too.
So,
It's my understanding that historically, we've also had a bump in enrollment in January. What is that, hard to know what usually means in today's world, but what does that usually add? Or is there a number that normally adds or that we get out of that bump in enrollment in January?
Joe, I don't want to say what that number might be because I'm really
We
not
don't know.
I don't know. What we have experienced typically, I do know, like you and probably the majority of our board as well, that we do experience growth in January because I think some of the countries that our families are migrating from, that's a good time of year from them. And so I think we should continue to anticipate that as well, which is quite frankly why I'm confident we will be over the 12,000 number before the year is over. What that will mean for next October 1st, I don't know. But I'm confident we'll be over 12,000 before the year is out for sure.
Thank you.
and Mr. Walsh, is it possible, we all are taking notes, is it possible that you board members could receive the information that you were just reading from?
Yes.
That we were taking
Yes.
notes for?
Yes,
Could we get that
absolutely.
sent to all the board members?
Absolutely. Ms.
Okay,
Cooper. So
thank you.
what was in the board packet were our numbers as of last week, 10-1, and the numbers I just shared with you, the 11,876, were effective 10/13. So it's just up to date
Okay.
as of when we just ran the last data. So just wanted to make the board aware. But yes, I can share this.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
But also, I guess by grade level, it'd be interesting to see
Okay.
if we could get that.
And I have that, absolutely,
Okay, thank
absolutely,
you.
absolutely. And so our next, I'm sorry, are there any more questions about the enrollment? Our next item, I didn't forget this time. Our next item is regarding our executive order. One, I just want to publicly say there's a number of people that need to be thanked. And first I want to start with the staff because we have the executive order needed to be operationalized here in the district. Our staff have been amazing in complying with the order, regardless of what their choice was. They've been amazing in complying with the order. Quite frankly, we were very nervous dealing with just trying to figure out how we're going to operationalize this and we would be able to open up our schools. We will be ready to open on a weekly basis. The staff has been absolutely amazing. And leading that charge is our Human Resources Department. Kim Thompson, who's of course here with us this evening, she has been really concerned about just making sure our buildings are ready to open when the order was to be activated. Her and her team have done an amazing job just to ready us for this. We've had to meet with all of the labor units to just make sure everyone was also on the same page. So I also want to congratulate them and thank them for their cooperation in this whole process. But there's still work to be done. It's ongoing work to be done. But Kim just wants to, I've asked Kim to just provide an update just about the vaccination process, the testing, how that's looking, how that's going, just so everyone just gets an understanding of what we've been working on and the potential complications. But we've been looking really good so far. So I'm happy to have Kim share the good news.
Thank you, Kevin. And I think the really good news is I won't come running down every 10 minutes saying the numbers are up, the numbers are down, I don't know what we're going to do. So it's been a journey the last really 3 weeks. And just to kind of recap what this order required of
I'll say sort of the vast majority of our existing staff were for people to establish full vaccination status by producing a vaccine card, and, or if not fully vaccinated, to seek an exemption from proving vaccination status. And anyone who is not vaccinated needs to go through a weekly testing protocol. So when I was here a couple of weeks ago talking about that, we were just setting up the protocols. And it has our testing staff, so those people in the mandatory testing pool, are testing on Sundays, Mondays, or Tuesdays, submitting their test results by Tuesday at the end of the day in order to be cleared to work on Wednesday. And so we have to juggle a bunch of things, not only folks getting out and getting the test, but getting the results in within a 72-hour window, which is established by the governor's order and its regulations. So it has been a challenge for lots of people. And so when I was here initially talking about it, we had over 600 people that we had not heard from yet, and that was a source of considerable concern on my part. What are we going to do if all these 600 people need to test and can't come to work? I am really happy to say, to echo Kevin's comments, my team has really, using the help of the administrators, has really gone all the way through that list. So we now have a mandatory testing pool of about 170 employees. That means, if you do the math, that our district is 89.5% vaccinated, which is great. Our teachers in particular are 90.2% vaccinated. So I think that kind of reduces everybody's stress level a little bit to kind of hear those numbers. And of those 170 or so that we continue to monitor, that number is going to continue to come down as people go through the second course of vaccines, or as people become more routinized in how to get their test results submitted. We've more or less automated everything, so our employees are filling out a Google form and uploading their test results, and it's feeding into a document that's showing us whether we have any positives and where they are located and where those people are. I think for tomorrow, we're looking at about 15 or 16 folks that cannot report to work tomorrow because they have not produced their results. And those folks are being placed on an administrative leave without pay until such time as they can cure that lack of a result. So we're going to continue to reach out and work with those people to make sure that they understand the protocols and can comply. I'm hopeful now that starting this week, we can open the window a little bit wider. So we're going to be able to have some folks who want to test on Saturdays to do that and submit their results on Mondays. So I'm going to go ahead and send that email out towards the end of this week. I think that for those remaining people who were really looking for some of the no-cost or no-fee test centers, Saturday's a super convenient day, and that didn't fit within our current protocols. Now that we can monitor those 170 people with relative ease, that shouldn't be a problem for us. So we're going to go ahead and roll that out a little bit more so that we can continue to help people to get the tests that they need to be able to submit the results. We looked carefully at some on-site testing. I'm not sure that we will need to do it because of the volume of people. When we were looking at 600 people, that was a real concern for us. And John and I have been kind of partnering to talk with some on-site test providers. But there's some insurance issues, reimbursement issues, those kinds of things that made that kind of an obstacle to immediate implementation. So we'll continue to look at that. But for right now, it seems like people are kind of getting into their groove and they're getting things submitted in a timely way. Or if not, they're reaching out so that we can dialogue with them about how to help them get this process completed. So I'm really confident that we won't be fined. we won't be losing any funds for failure to comply. And we're going to continue to kind of walk through the process of papering the rest of this process. So, so far so good, is what I'm saying.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please? Yes. Kim, of the 15 to 16 people that are going to be on leave, are those classroom teachers or the staff members?
Right now, and I just have to double check, right now I believe it's all non-certified staff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And excuse me for laughing, Kate, but I asked this, that was my first question to Kim when she mentioned the number to me as well.
To the extent that you know or can answer the question, so far with the people that are testing, have we had any positives come back?
No.
Good.
Nope.
Good.
The very first week we saw them, but they were ones that already were kind of going through the contact tracing process, so we were already aware of them. But no, we haven't had any surprises. And I would expect, just from the people that I've spoken to, people know, they're gonna flag when something comes in like that. So people have been really good about kind of communicating, but we haven't seen anything like that.
Good.
Yes, Mr. Reese,
Mr. Wilson, on the same line of his executive order, how close are we to getting rid of masks in school? A question I ask relatively frequently.
Mr. Russo, I'll have to answer you, I think, the same way I've responded before. And as per the order, whether it's the city or the state, we are required as of right now by both places to make sure that masks are worn in school. So it's really not an option for us as your superintendent or for us as a board until those orders are relaxed. So that's where it stands right now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, a month ago, I believe we asked this question.
Yeah, I recall.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. And so, Ms. Cooper, the last item for the superintendent's report is about quarantining and academic support. When our students are quarantined, I know there were some questions and some other meetings that I've been in, so I just want to make sure our families understand on what this process looks like, what the support looks like in the event they're called from our schools in quarantine, and what the academic support plan looks like when in quarantine. Kelly Trucius is going to help us with that one.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
So just a quick update, when a student is identified in needing to quarantine, so they are an exposure to someone in school, sometimes we're getting it from a sports team, whatever the circumstance is, we're committed to providing them instruction during the time that they're out. So what happens is they're not able to come into school. We are not doing live streaming for the most part in classes because it was very disruptive to attend to the students in school as well as the students online. There are some classroom teachers that are doing check-ins during kind of downtimes, morning meeting times with their students, just out of the goodness of their own heart, and we certainly recognize and commend them for doing so. But we are paying students out of our ESSER funding, teachers out of our ESSER funding for after school time, where they're providing check-ins and academic support services to those students that are on quarantine. So within about 24, no later than 48 hours after you're notified as a parent or guardian that your child needs to quarantine, you're contacted by this designated professional from the school building, and you're given your check-in time and the supports that are in place for students. We also have staff members checking in on the social emotional well-being of our students. So it's twofold, both how are you doing, how are you handling the time being at home, do you have any questions, and then can we help you with any of your academic support. We are currently monitoring it, so right now you are designated a contact for the most part across the district within your school building. But if for some reason we notice that more students are out at one school versus another, we will lend support. We have not had to do that to date, but we certainly are keeping an eye out and have a plan in place for doing that.
Thank you, Kevin. Ms. Cooper, I don't know if there are any questions regarding the SQL.
Just curious, for the elementary kids, I can see how that works for middle and high school where they live on Google Classroom, but is that the same for elementary? Is elementary still utilizing?
Good question, yeah. So all of our staff are required to utilize Google Classroom. Teachers, during the first week of school, made sure that all of our students were logged in and able to access the classrooms. Depending on the grade level, I will say our younger teachers, younger grade levels, K2, are doing more in-classroom things, but making sure students know how to access should they need to, and are carefully selecting activities so that they have to go to Google Classroom. 3-5 is incorporating it a little bit more regularly into the classroom instruction. But teachers are required to post things on the Google Classroom so that if and when a student is in quarantine, it's there and easily accessible.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next is on the agenda for information. Board members that would like to participate in attending the CAVE convention, and I hope we will send someone or someone would like to go. So we either let Carol know or we contact or figure out how we're going to do this, okay? But I think we should be at the convention. It's only one day when it used to be, what, 2 or 3?
Yes, if I could, Madam Chair, we actually got an email notification from CABE that the registration for that event has closed.
Let's see if we can get it.
So,
That's no problem. They want the, stuff with the, they want the money.
I'm sure they do. They capped it, unfortunately, they capped it because of, they capped the attendance because of the
Let me
COVID.
have, Carol call and find out tomorrow.
That would be great. Thank you.
What we saw left on the agenda, and no one brought to my attention the last couple of times, our committees reports, you know, because I don't want to, omit any of our committees that are doing something, and if you want to have, you know, you want to say something or talk about what the committee is doing at the board meeting, just stop me, because sometimes I get on the road and I forget, and we don't have it on the agenda, or it might be in a different place. So right now, I ask anyone have anything from any of our committees to report. Rachel?
Some PTO, PTO liaison, reports. Just so you know what's happening there, I went to the first DHS PTO meeting, the end of September. That was virtual. And that same week, I attended the AIS PTO meeting, and they were holding their meetings in person but outside. And of course, everyone knows the citywide PTO had their Meet the Candidates event last week. And I also attended the Westside Nelson PTO. They're doing meetings virtual, but it's a joint meeting with the principal and the PTO. And this week they're hosting a coffee with a cop this Friday, which brings police officers and the community members they serve together over coffee to discuss issues and learn more about each other. That's with their resource officer. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Rachel. And we know our finance committee had a meeting, our community relations committee had a meeting, and I'd just like to thank the leadership of those committees and board members always participating in those committees to learn, even if it's not the committee that you chair, you are there to learn how that committee is different from what your committee is and what the procedure is. So I just want to thank you all for your participation. I don't have anything on my agenda except to remind board members that on the 26th we will be doing board self-evaluation, which is very important for the board. And we'll keep you informed about that. Lastly, unless Mr. Watson has anything else that he wants to add, I would like to thank our financial officer, John, and at Water for working, putting the beautiful document that they did concerning the finance budget, and I certainly appreciate that. So, and we would like to welcome them here to Danbury. Don't do anything to make them rush out. So, if there's nothing else, no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved, second.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Wow.